Personal values, professionalism, and professional development. My hope is that this presentation will give you a glimpse into the connections between these three concepts. Ultimately, you can find a path for teacher professional development and collectively a district's ability to deliver that professional development in order to positively impact student achievement in a systemic approach. To give you a sense of my role in our district, I aim higher so we can achieve more. I juggle curriculum meetings and other priorities. I bring new ideas to the table. I look beyond to see where we need to be 2 to 4 years out. I look at the bottom line for budgeting priorities. I break down barriers for those who drag their feet. And ultimately, my hope is that I walk the walk for others to follow. Through this inquiry, I hope to understand how educators defined professionalism, what benefits and expectations exist as professionals, and in doing this, I could better reflect on my overall wondering of how understanding my values through the lens of professionalism can shape my practice as a curriculum and instruction coordinator. Let's start with the connection of personal values and professionalism. A significant result of this study involves the direct connection between success as a teacher and their personal values. More to the point, personal values play an important part in predicting job satisfaction and continuing growth in the teaching profession. In essence, a person's personal values provide the foundation on which an educator builds his or her professionality. Professionality refers to the values, attitudes, actions, and behaviors of the individuals who belong to a profession. Specifically, professionality refers to individuals' stance within their profession and how it influences their behaviors. Professionalism, then, is the collectiveness of these professionalities. Externally imposed change creates unintended barriers to overcome for implementation with fidelity. An effective professional development takes into account both functional and attitudinal elements. Teachers whose attitudinal development is enhanced are positioned to see the need for functional development. In turn, the professionality of each teacher and the organization's professionalism is enriched through learning that tends to both attitudinal and functional development. Affecting both elements of professional development has the most potential to enhance individual teachers as well as the district's professional growth. Let's take a look at highlights of my inquiry journey. So exactly why are these connections important to me now? Well, the state of Iowa has a mandated model for professional development that includes a singular focus and a variation of a cycle of inquiry. My internal quandary revolves around how to meet individual learning needs, improve the system, meet external constraints, and balance this with holding educators accountable for their own learning. This led me to wondering how professionalism plays into this balancing act. At first, it was with regards to those teachers. However, I discovered that really understanding professionalism and its connection to professional development can positively influence my practice and how I create the learning opportunities. Let's meet two educators that help shed light on my wondering. George is a secondary administrator and a veteran educator of 14 years. Then Jordan is a secondary classroom teacher, also a veteran, teaching in the classroom for 25 plus years. These two educators were selected based on their colleagues' perceptions that each one represents an exemplary professional. These gentlemen share a sense of responsibility. Jordan wants to make a difference with people. He seems determined to leave a positive legacy in his role as a classroom teacher. George pursued administration because he sees a more global need among youth. He felt compelled to widen his circle of influence by leaving the classroom to impact all students in an administrator role. Research shows that the 4 personal values that are the strongest predictors of success in the classroom are discipline, responsibility, respect, and sharing. As George and Jordan were interviewed, these values came through in the ways that they talked about the people who were the most influential in their lives. When thinking about the value of professional development for teachers, Jordan captures it aptly when he says, "I think you have to keep learning and changing because if you don't change, you die." Both Jordan and George believe it is a responsibility to give of themselves, creating a legacy of learners in their wake. It is interesting to note that both Jordan and George were drawn to education after entering college with other plans. And now, every time they enter school, it's with one purpose, one responsibility, and that is the students. As each story unfolds, it is apparent that it isn't a love of content or curriculum that draws them to education. What matters most are relationships. So, after exploring the literature, talking with colleagues held in high esteem as professionals in education, where am I in my wondering of understanding my values through the lens of professionalism and how that shapes my practice as a curriculum and instruction coordinator? I believe I have uncovered more questions than answers. I know there are avenues I have not investigated. I have begun to learn how these concepts influence each other and how they impact professional development. The idea that professionalism is somewhat fluid and needs to be tended in order to positively impact a profession. In answering my initial inquiry, I am not so sure it matters how I define a profession as much as it matters how I define and understand the nuances of professionalism and professionality. Have I conquered this feat? Not even close. A huge learning point from my inquiry is the need for any district to nurture our teachers' individual professionality, leading to enhanced professionalism, thus setting a strong foundation for the dual paths of professional development, both functional and attitudinal development. And finally, I ask myself, am I ready to embark on this huge charge? And the answer is a resounding no. Where do I turn next in preparing for this work? Studies acknowledge that what the heart of professionalism is and the relationship between personal values and professionalism are underrepresented in research on professionalism. Given this, I may be in for a deep learning journey as I dig into this body of knowledge. Thank you for taking a brief walk through my inquiry journey around professionalism in education.